Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here, and this is the Astrological Winds channel. I'm going to take a look at the astrological weather report for this week of May 29th through the June 4th. And last week I actually said I would look at the monthly for June this week, but we have a full moon this week that I want to talk about a little bit. And so what I think I'm going to do is wait to do the monthly until next week when I do the June 5th through 11th weekly too. And there's, first 4 days of June this week does feature that full moon. So that's the main event, and they'll be covered in the weekly anyway. And then I'll catch us up with all the monthly stuff next week. So yeah, 4 things I want to talk about this week. And the main thing is that full moon, which is in Sagittarius at 14 degrees. And that will be next Saturday. So first off, the Astrological Winds channel is a free service that I offer every week on YouTube. It's a video blog and looking at the astrological weather for the week. So if you like the blog and you have a YouTube account, please become a follower and, turn on your notifications and you'll know whenever I post the blog, which is usually on Mondays. And remember, guys, it's available on all kinds of podcasts too, so you don't have to watch a video to get the blog information. Podcasts for you up to listen to it when you're doing other things. So just go to your favorite podcast and just look up Astrological Winds channel, and you should be able to find it there. I know there's about 20 of them that cover that grab the Astrological Winds report and bring it out onto their podcasts every week. So, if you don't find it on one, just look it up on the other. But I know like Apple iPodcasts have it. So, just look it up. Best way you guys can support me for this free service is to pass the link on to somebody else when you're done listening today. I really would appreciate that. I know a lot of you guys have done that for me. And if you can, if you have other people that you think might be interested in it too, please pass that on again. It's been growing organically and really well that way, and I really appreciate that. The other thing is I am a professional astrologer. I've been giving professional readings for over 20 years. I had 7 years of formal schooling and training in astrology. So if you or someone you know is looking for a reading, please get in touch with me. And my email is mattHue823@gmail.com. That's mattHue823@gmail.com. And I'll give some more details on contact info at the end of the blog, but let's get into it. So like I said, there's 4 things this week, and they're all loaded towards the back end of the week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are mainly just dealing with lunar type stuff. So Thursday is the first thing I want to mention. So Thursday is actually the first day of June. And on that first day of June, which is Thursday, Mars will quincunx Saturn. That's the first thing I want to talk about. So Mars quincunx Saturn is a bumpy kind of energy. It feels like most of our actions are off somehow, like they're either awkward or they're just, out of harmony. They're not really working well together. It can really affect us physically too. It can make us feel like sluggish, hard to get going. Energy is off, and a lot of that may even come down into our physical body. It may be something that's physically stopping us from what we want to do this week or slowing us down somehow, and we have to kind of make adjustments to that. But really a lot of times the blockage with a Mars Saturn comes from like authorities or superiors or people who have some kind of power in our life, and they somehow something they're doing or deciding feels like it's blocking you. And this can make us like indecisive, and it can also lower our confidence in our ability to get things done the way we want to. It can kind of feel like a lot of our actions just keep ending up in dead ends, and like we have to like restart again or adjust from that point and keep moving on. So that can be definitely very frustrating. It can feel really negative inside and can make us feel like resentful, irritated, even angry at the people that we're perceiving who are doing that to us, or the situation that we're perceiving. It can get us like kind of like almost seething inside, but we kind of cap it with Mars Saturn. We don't push it out. Now, one of the big things of Mars Saturn, if you're in that, you're feeling that Mars conjunct Saturn like that, one of the best things to do is see if you can avoid people who are going to drag you down or feed that more. And I literally mean like people who are negative in your life, who you perceive as a negative, draining energy. It's best to try to just avoid those kind of people when this quincunx, because they can really, really undermine your confidence and make you fall into that indecisiveness of not being sure where to go or what to do from here. Now, what can be done with Mars Saturn quincunx is to throw ourselves into a project that requires a lot of like just slow step-by-step movement of constructing something and building something up. But we will still probably run into like things that block us or slow us down and can irritate us, but it does give us discipline to just keep pushing ahead on this steady kind of pace. So, not the easiest aspect to deal with, that's for sure. And like I said, right on Thursday, kind of in the middle of the week. Now, the next day we get a really sweet aspect. This is one of the nicest aspects on Friday, the 2nd. Venus will trine Neptune, and Venus and Neptune are all, they're the two planets about love, really. Love in the sense of, on the Venus level, is like human love. It's conditional love, love we choose to give to one another or not. And Neptune is the higher octave of that. It's what I call like unconditional love, having great compassion and empathy and understanding for where everyone is at and where they're coming from and where they seemingly are going. So it really has like a sensitivity and empathy, a connection with others on these levels, and like wanting to support that on that level. So it's like literally combining what I would call conditional and unconditional love into this very sweet, harmonious mix. And it makes us very sensitive to others so that we can listen well and receive what they're saying and help them out, and vice versa. Like, be able to have sympathy and compassion and understanding for where other people are at. Now, this can also, Venus trine Neptune can also give us a lot of creative and inspiring type energy. Brings us like, these creative ideas that come in these packages. And so, we can use it for artistic or creative output wherever you have the creative energy, and you can output that into your life and put it into the things you're doing. This gives us the ability to do that, the Venus trine Neptune. And it really, if anything, it's great for relationships, because people are really receiving and open to one another, and really, even on a deeper level, when you think about Venus, being all about love, the planet of love, and all that, with Neptune, it's the connections that you make under this aspect are like soulmate type of connection. So like if it's a romantic connection, it can be this very deep, inspiring, beautiful connection that you're making with someone that really fits both of your ideals, that it's like, wow, this is like, just the perfect person for me, the perfect situation for me. But it's definitely like, finding others that share too on a wider level, similar values and ideals on the ability to give out like unconditional love and compassion and empathy for others, and really understand where they're coming from. But yeah, also, like I said, it can spark, beautiful new relationships. Okay, now the main thing this week is on Saturday. Now we've got a full moon in Sagittarius this week, and it's at 14 degrees, and it is trining Mars Pallas conjunction, which is separating from that trine, and at the same time it's trining Chiron, and it's applying to that trine. So we have a loose, what we call grand trine in the fire element during this full moon. And it's the moon trine Mars Pallas in Leo, and then trine Chiron in Aries, and of course the moon in Sag. And then this full moon is ruled by Jupiter, because the Sag is the ruler of Jupiter, and Jupiter is in interesting condition. We talked a lot about that last week. It's conjunct the North Node, and it's in a T-square with that Mars again that I talked about, and Pluto is in a fixed T-square, basically. So full moon in Sag, Sag wants an adventure. Emotionally, we are ready for an adventure. We want to push forward somehow. We want to expand ourselves somehow. We want to, take in more things that help us personally grow, that expand the way we look at things, and expand our value systems, make us more tolerant, make us more understanding of others. But at the same time, we want to push out to the edge. Sag energy is like that guy in the charge of the light brigade. He wants to bring everyone to a new horizon, and wants to bring back higher knowledge, greater wisdom, personal growth on all levels. So this is like what that Sag full moon is looking for us. It wants us to push ahead. Now the opposition, remember, when the moon is a full moon, it means it's in opposition to the sun. So the sun is in Gemini. And so there's this tension between the moon in Sag and the sun in Gemini. And when you think about that axis, it's all about information. It's all about knowledge. It's all about, bringing in new ideas. But the difference between Gemini and Sag is Gemini sun is kind of like, will just go from one thing to another. It doesn't get really deeply into the information it's collecting. It's more like still in the collection phase. And then Sag is the one that'll come along and latch onto something and take it to a higher level. So the tension that's here is that the Sag moon is not getting the satisfaction through depth and through pushing ahead, where Gemini is just kind of happy to just take a little here, take a little there, take in some information there, but not really do much with it as far as beyond just chewing over it a little bit. Sag wants to take it to a higher level. It's like, what is the use of collecting all this information if it doesn't have some personal growth potential for me, if it's not expanding my world somehow, if it's not expanding my consciousness and awareness somehow. So that's where the tension comes. Now, remember, full moons, right? People can really act out, where they're going. And when you put that Sag energy into a full moon, you can definitely get some people doing some really risky, pushy, excessive things, really push that energy out there. So, that's something we have to be aware of during this full moon, is that we can really just go off, like in a wild direction, kind of get almost like really flippant or inconsiderate of others in the way. And when we do that, it's just like I said, pushing forward, and not really like thinking about like, oh, how far this is going to push other people and how it can really shake people up on that level. So it's like, this full moon really, the full moon energy that is so intense every month jumped on top of that Sag can really make people get into some kind of risky behaviors, impulsive actions. So you need to be really aware of that energy, yeah, and the fact that pushing for those new levels sometimes can really create a lot of waves that can come back and swamp you too, and really push people away from you, really into that risky kind of pushy behavior to try to find something new, to bring some adventure, some sense of like expansion into our lives. Now, it's really interesting that, it's separating from a trine to Mars conjunct Pallas in Leo. So this is showing this, it's interesting. This is really backing up the Sagittarius energy, this trine to the Mars and Pallas. Because when Mars and Pallas get together, it's all about like fighting for an ideal, fighting for something that we believe in. And it's in Leo too. So there's a lot of pride involved in what we believe in the values that we have, and the way we're going to fight for them. And we are very strong and confident in doing that. So that like really feeds into the Sagittarius energy. The problem with that is that just the Mars and Leo can just be like the Sagittarius energy. It can get very, very arrogant in the sense of like, oh, I know this is what's right for me, and can get very pushy in trying to push that out onto others. So, Mars and Leo can always bring like pride issues, because we're really strongly attached to our beliefs, and we will act out on it. And we really, just like the Sag full moon, we really don't care if other people are not like happy about that. And we really want to push what we believe in. So it's very interesting. But with the trine, it shows that, hey, you know what? This is really energizing me. This has really got me like positive, optimistic, exuberant about life. And the trine to Mars shows that we will go and act on this alone. If we don't have other people follow us to those new horizons, not a problem. We'll just go and do it alone. That we are really into pushing this progressive energy forward, and really trying to get it into, downloaded into our lives. We don't even really, it doesn't really matter if other people come along. Now, the Mars, when it's in that trine, will, if it finds other people that have similar beliefs, that, have similar belief systems, concepts, ideas, it can work really well together with those groups on certain projects. So this is all about advancing, pushing things forward. And then you got this trine to Chiron going on too, which it's applying to. And that shows us that by doing that, we are bringing in healing energy to ourselves, and also helps others out. It assists others. So this is great innovative energy to come up with new solutions to old problems or issues, or to come up with whole new creative, innovative ways to do things, to find, ways that, help other people. And then that also helps us, and it helps us emotionally, So like the moon trine Chiron shows that when we're doing the things that inspire us, doing the things that push us forward, doing the things that help us evolutionize, it helps heal wounded emotions within us, and it also assists others in doing so. So there's this beautiful energy of assisting one another and helping each other out. And like I said, this is a grand trine in fire. It's loose, but it's a grand trine in fire. And so it's like saying, trust your intuition. You know, push ahead. It's trying to bring you to new levels, new places of understanding, new wisdom and knowledge that you can use to expand your world. So a beautiful flow there. And then when you look at the rulership of Jupiter ruling this full moon conjunct that North Node. Now remember, last week I talked a lot about the Jupiter North Node, and also Jupiter is still in the square to Mars that I talked about last week, and it's also squaring Pluto at the same time. So it's in a T-square, the Jupiter in the ruler of this chart during this full moon. And once again, it so ties into that Sag energy, because Jupiter North Node conjunction is saying, if you bring in and these new ideas and pursue and expand all this stuff, it is going to totally expand your world. New goals, new groups, new people, new assets, all kinds of things that are going to expand your world on all kinds of levels and take you to new places and really feed that desire of the full moon in the Sag to go out on the edge and bring back something new. And the Mars square to it, just like I was talking about last week, brings incredible amount of energy to it. Like the Sag already has this amazing amount of energy, and now we're going to download the Mars square Jupiter. The moon is trining Mars, like I said, so there's an incredible amount of energy that we can tap into if we're inspired by something on this energy. And then the square to Pluto shows that we are all being driven right now by our own ambitions, and we may find ourselves in positions of power, and it's going to test us. It's going to say, are you using this power just to benefit yourself mainly? Or are you using this power to benefit all the people around you, like a ripple out from the middle of you and circling around and bringing in all these other people to you? Mars Pluto can be dangerous. It gives us power in our world, and we all have a little bit of power somewhere at least. And this can really blind us at times egotistically and make us think, oh, I'm on top of the world. And like I say, you got to watch out with that Mars and Leo, and the moon and Sag can feed that energy too. It can make it feel like, you are on top of the world, and you can get very arrogant at that and then start to push what you think is, your values and everything onto everyone else. And that's where it can create fierce conflict and power struggles with others, especially people who are in power or superiors to you, who may feel threatened by things like that coming from someone else. But, the reality is this full moon is all about you. It's all about you doing what you're supposed to do to grow, not allowing other people, situations, information to hold you back, to get beyond just the collection of the information and take it in to your inner life, to your philosophy, to your values, and change and adapt those things based on what you're finding out, where you're wanting to push expansion. So this is all about enlightenment for yourself, really, and pushing that energy out. And what you need to do, look in your chart where 14 degrees Sagittarius and Gemini are. They're going to be opposite one another, and they're going to fall into, two opposite houses. And that's going to show you the axis of where this stuff falls in your life personally. So literally if it was in the 3rd and 9th houses, it would be about taking in more information, learning things, maybe communication type things. But, look at where 14 degrees Sag and Gemini fall in your chart, and it'll give you an idea of where this energy is coming in. But this is really about advancing yourself this week, and not allowing others to, drag you behind, but then taking that energy out and bringing it to others where they can benefit from it too. So it's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity for a big leap of your own consciousness and growth, and on all different levels. And the more tolerant you are, the more open you are, the more receptive you are, the more you'll get out of this, and it may be hard for others to keep up with you, and that's okay. There's people out there that you will connect with, and you may leave certain people, things, events, situations behind as you go off into the horizon to new places with this full moon. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention was on Sunday, the very next day, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus. And very interesting, just like the Venus and Neptune are like the lower and higher octave of, like, as I said, love, really. And in that case, Mercury and Uranus are the lower and higher octave of the mind, of the intellect, of mental energy, So when they come together, there's this, in a conjunction, there's a great blending of the intellect, the lower mind that's represented by Mercury, and the intuition or upper mind, which is represented by Uranus. So you can get some seriously amazing intuitive downloads and ideas during this conjunction. And a lot of it may spring right out of that full moon. The full moon, when you go to the horizon, may show you all this new information. Then all of a sudden, we bring it back into our intellect, into our mind, and it's kind of sitting in there, and then our intuition starts to tap into it too. And then all of a sudden, we're getting these brilliant new ideas, and they can come at us very quickly. They can really, like, boom, boom, boom. So you got to make sure that, if it really looks like some kind of ingenious idea, get it down somehow. Don't let it just fly away and be replaced really quickly with another idea, because that energy shoots at you really fast. The Mercury Uranus, it's like, and it can scatter us. It can overload. It can be information overload or too much information, and can scatter our thoughts. Get us worked up into like a nervous frenzy, moving too fast, making impulsive decisions that are not completely thought out, that we may regret pretty quickly, or, even kind of like, just moving too fast, and, the little accidents that kind of happen when you're moving too fast, knock over your coffee or whatever it may be, so what we need to do, this energy, is try to discipline it in a bit, and look at all these new ideas that are coming in, and latch on to the ones that seem really like they're valuable and can bring us to a new place. It can really stimulate the mind, but we have to be careful about making sure we have all the information we need before we make a big decision under this aspect. And, we really want to allow Uranus energy to seep in. A lot of times with your intuition, guys, you get the information, like the full moon brings you the information, right? And so it goes into your mind, into the Mercury, but we got to allow our intuition to have some time with it, Sometimes the intuition isn't like that. It's going to give you the obvious answer right away. But when we bring it down into our mind, and it's sitting in our mind and in our consciousness, that's when the intuition can kick in, and it can be in at an odd time. You'll feel it in your body, and you'll know that's the idea that I'm supposed to really explore and push on with and expand and adapt to. And so really interesting energy this week, really ties together. But I really think this is a week where we're kind of almost like leaving a lot of the old stuff behind, pushing forward into into our broad new horizon, and feeling confident about doing what we want to do, and then taking things that we learn when we do that push forward back into us, and coming up with some new creative ideas and solutions to things new innovations, new ways of doing things, repairing old situations with new ways of doing it, and really pushes us forward, helps us to grow, gives us a new perspective, a different viewpoint, a higher mountaintop to see from. All right? So this is all about you this week, like really, wanting to do that. And you will. The Jupiter North Node shows that you will find other people. You will find other groups. You will find other goals when you do this. And promise of greatly expanding the circles of our world by doing that. All right, this is Matt Lawton. This is the Astrological Winds channel, and it is a free service that I offer to you if you choose to listen to it every week, to use this knowledge and make your life better. Don't get caught up on the astrological terms if you don't know the astrology. Just remember what I said about the interpretations this week. Use that energy. Push yourself ahead. This is a free service I offer every week. And I'd really like you to pay me back right now by passing the link on to somebody else that you know. Yes, I know you've probably already done that, but there's a lot more people out there who may be interested in it. Astrology is believed by over half the world's population now, so you're not going out there too far on a limb, too far on a Sagittarian limb by passing the link on to someone else. You'd be surprised at how many people are into astrology. So please do me a favor and do that. And if you need a reading, or you know someone else who needs a reading, I've been doing readings for over 20 years. You really need to get your natal chart done if you have any interest in astrology. You carry that energy around with you all the time, and if you're not fully conscious of it, it steers you most of the time rather than you driving it. So get that natal chart done, and make sure it's done by a professional astrologer, because the computer or your friend who just read a book on astrology is not going to give you anywhere near the depth that a professional astrologer is. It's not going to see how all that energy holistically ties together into one package and help you become more self-empowered, self-fulfilled. And also predictive readings. If you've had your natal chart done right around your birthday every year, you should give yourself a gift and get a predictive reading. I look at the next year of your life just like I look at the weekly like this, and tell you these are the energies moving in your life, so you understand some of the things you're going on in that life. And once again, that year, and that gives you the empowerment to work with that energy and move it in directions that you would prefer it to go to, rather than just feeling like, a leaf being blown around on the winds of fate, So get yourself some empowerment. Also, relationship charts. If you're in a new relationship, or you've been in a relationship for a long time and you want to see where it's going, that kind of thing. Children's charts, how to relate better to your kid, how to understand their emotions better, the big events in their life, horary charts. If you're looking for some answer to a burning question you just are so emotionally tied up into and you can't seem to find the answer, a lot of times we can find some direction in a chart. Elections, if you have some big event coming up, like say a wedding, we can find the best day of the month, the best hours that day to make things more successful for you. Astrocartography and relocation. If you're looking to move somewhere, your chart changes and, can put you in different power spots. Or if you're looking for parts of the world where a certain kind of energy is more acute in your life, we can do an astrocartography relocation type work. So fixed star readings also for people who have had their natal chart done, have a good understanding of it, and want to get into the deeper esoteric meaning of their life this time around. So all kinds of readings. I've also got beginners classes available for anyone who's interested in that. And if you have a group that's looking for a lecture, a class, question and answer session, workshop, mini readings, any of that stuff, all these things, just email me, matthure823@gmail.com. That's matthure823@gmail.com. All right, you guys, next week, I promise we'll look at that full month of June, I should say. And now that we made it through the full moon this week, and remember, this week's all about you. It's all about you and your growth. Push forward. Do it now.